Reborn in Marvel, marrying Scarlet Witch unlocks overpowered treasures. Episode 61. Devil's Contract, Magic Bond. Kim Taehee's father died when she was a child. My mother also died of illness a few years ago. Her only relative now is her younger sister, who is attending college in Nanbang. And just now, she called her sister's phone countless times, but she still couldn't get through. She only has one belief in her heart now. Survive and then go back to save your sister. Although after seeing the horror of those monsters, she felt that the chance of her sister surviving was not high, but she was not willing to give up. Even if she turned into a zombie, she would still go see her sister. She had seen the horror of that kind of monster before. If she had to rely on herself, it would be difficult to even get out of the city, let alone return to Nanbang to find her sister. However, she had just seen Sumo's magical method. Being attached to the other person is the best choice for her. She is very aware of her beauty. Judging from her childhood experience, she is still somewhat attractive to men. But he didn't expect that Sumo shook his head after hearing this. I saved your life, and you told me the location of the bank. We don't owe each other anything. After saying that, a space door opened next to him, and he raised his feet to step into the space door. Seeing that Sumo was unmoved, Jin Taishi hurriedly spoke again. As long as you help me survive, I will give everything for it. Hearing this, Mr. and Mrs. Ren on the side did not show any surprise on their faces. In their view, there is nothing wrong with making this choice in order to survive. After Sumo heard this, the steps he took also stopped. A look of thought flashed across his face, and then he looked at the other person up and down. Are you really willing to give everything, including your soul? Jin Taishi saw the serious look in Sumo's eyes. After hesitating for a moment, he nodded fiercely. That's right. She has already seen all kinds of magic in the other party, so naturally, she will not think that the other party's words are just talk. Sumo nodded after hearing this. The mark of the dark divine book between the eyebrows emits streaks of gray light. Then a contract generated by light appeared in front of Kim Taehee. If you agree, sign this contract. You just need to physically touch the contract and silently agree in your mind. After Kim Taehee heard this, without any hesitation, he directly touched the contract in front of him with his hand. In an instant, a ray of light flew out from the center of her eyebrows and entered the contract. The contract turned into a stream of light and shot into the dark divine book in Sumo's soul. Sumo closed his eyes and felt it. He had a feeling that he could easily extract the soul of the other party. In other words, the other party's life and death is already in his hands. This so-called devil's contract is indeed somewhat magical. Yesterday, he was thinking about how to develop offline and lend out mana. The magic in the Dark God's book requires communication with the underworld before practicing, which is equivalent to applying to the underworld for permission to borrow mana. Almost most people who practice magic adopt this method. Including the Ancient One mage, they also borrowed their power with the permission of Emperor Weishan. Besides this way, there is another way. Just like those demons like Mephisto, they form a contract to lend their power to humans. And there happens to be this way of concluding a contract in the Dark God's book. Just now, he just had the attitude of giving it a try. I didn't expect it to really succeed. Now Kim Taehee's life is in his own hands. In return, the other party will be eligible to borrow mana from him. Of course, it actually borrows the energy from the Dark God book. As long as she practices in the future, she will be able to successfully cast dark magic. The moment he touched the devil's contract, Kim Taehee successfully felt the content of the contract. Unexpectedly, there was an excited smile on her face. Is this true? Can I be like you in the future? Her original plan was to sell her body and find an opportunity to let the other party send her back to Nanbang. He didn't ask the other party to help him save his sister. After all, if she puts herself in his shoes, she doesn't think that the other party would risk his life to go to Nanbang to save people for the sake of a woman. But she didn't think about how to save her sister after returning to Nanbang. We can only take one step at a time. I didn't expect that the contract the other party asked me to sign was so magical. Judging from the content of the contract, he will be qualified to practice magic in the future. In this way, after returning to Nanbang, she might be able to rescue her sister, of course, if her sister is still alive. While she was secretly ecstatic, the other party's voice appeared in her ears. Follow me. Sumo gave instructions to Jin Taishi and walked directly through the space door. Now that the contract has been successfully signed, the other party is considered one of our own. As for the other people, they have nothing to do with him. He is not the Holy Mother, so bringing them out by the way is considered to be the most benevolent thing. And the reason why he signed the contract with Kim Tae-hee was that he had another plan in mind. Even with the undead army, cleaning up the zombies in this world is not something that can be completed in a short time. It is impossible for him to stay in this world forever, so he needs a trustworthy person to lead the undead army here. Kim Tae-hee, who has signed a contract now, is perfect for him. Upon hearing this, Jean Taishi quickly followed Sumo through the space door. Seeing the space door slowly disappearing in front of their eyes, Ren and others showed envious expressions in their eyes. There is this teleportation ability. Even in this apocalyptic world where monsters are everywhere, I'm afraid I can still live a very nourishing life. Newark, in a suburban warehouse. Sumo walked out of the space door with Jean Taishi. Even though it was the second time he saw this scene, Kim Tae-hee still had a trace of curiosity on his face. He even planned to reach out and touch the sparks around the space door. If you don't want to become a disabled person, I advise you to put away that damn curiosity. Sumo's voice came from in front of her. Upon hearing this, Kim Tae-hee quickly took back her outstretched hand. He looked around at the somewhat familiar surroundings. She was surprised to find that this was outside the factory of the silver jewelry company she was talking about. She had been here several times before, so she could recognize it at a glance. How amazing! A sigh came out of her mouth. I wonder if the other party can be teleported directly to Nanbang? Seeing Sumo walking towards the factory, she quickly followed him. At this time, apart from pools of blood, there was not a single zombie on the ground in the factory. However, as they walked towards the factory area, the two heard roars coming from a factory in the distance. After turning a corner, the door of the factory appeared in their sight. The door is closed. Sumo directly used psychokinesis to open the door. Looking inside through the door. There are zombies everywhere inside. Inside the door in front of the two of them, a female zombie wearing blue overalls was lying on a corpse on the ground and biting it. The corpse had become mutilated under her bite. Hearing footsteps coming from beside him, the female zombie turned her head. Sumo glanced at the other party. If the blood on the other party's face was ignored, the other party could be considered a beauty. The beautiful zombie didn't care about her image at all, and rushed towards Sumo with her mouth wide open. Episode 62. Summoning the Dead. Located in a warehouse far away from the factory building. Two strong black men watched Sumo open the factory door. The look on John's face changed. Shit, damn bastard, he managed to lure all the zombies into the factory, and now he's going to let them out again. He pulled his head back from the crack in the warehouse door. He's looking for death, and don't worry about it. The food collected from the restaurant is enough for us to live for a long time. Maybe the army will come to rescue us before it is exhausted. Jim said with a sneer on his face. It's just a pity for that woman. He glanced at Jean Taishi, who was following Sumo again, with a lewd look. Although he couldn't see the other person's face clearly because of the distance, his figure and fair skin made him look ready to make a move. Now they are hiding in the warehouse, and there is no shortage of food. But there were only two grown men. I don't know how long I have to hide here, it's a bit boring. If there is a woman to accompany me, it will undoubtedly increase a lot of fun, but it's a pity that it's too late. Judging from the number of zombies in the factory, the two of them had no chance of surviving. In the factory, Jean Taishi, who was standing behind Sumo, looked at the zombies rushing over and his expression changed. Although in her opinion, Sumo should be able to deal with these zombies, her instinct made her still feel a little scared. Sumo waved his hand calmly. A steel nail quickly shot into the female zombie's eyebrow. The female zombie made a pop and fell to the ground softly. Jean Taishi didn't notice the flying steel nails at all. He only saw Sumo wave his hand and the female zombie fell to the ground and lost her voice. The movement here quickly attracted all the zombies in the factory. The area of this factory is very large, covering several thousand square meters. There are rows of equipment neatly arranged inside. The space between these instruments was almost filled with zombies covered in blood. It was conservatively estimated that there were thousands of them. In this regard, Sumo did not show any surprise. Before he even opens the door, he learns what's inside through psychokinesis. Looking at the zombies swarming over, countless steel nails appeared in front of him, and then quickly flew toward the zombies not far away. Under the rapid shuttle of these steel nails, zombies fell in groups. Less than a minute. Not a single standing zombie could be seen in the entire factory. Behind him, Kim Taehee's eyes were wide open and her lips were slightly opened. Suemo ignored her and walked directly to the innermost machine. Come out. After a moment, a gap appeared in the machine shell in front of him, and an eye appeared behind the gap and glanced outside. Then the shell opened directly, and a figure covered in engine oil stains crawled out from inside. The gap inside is very narrow, and if the man hadn't been relatively thin, he wouldn't have been able to get in. Are you an employee here? Suemo looked at the employees who were looking at the surrounding environment and asked. The man looked at him with shock in his eyes and nodded. You must know that a few minutes ago, he secretly looked at the situation in the factory. At that time, these zombies were still alive and kicking, one by one, knocking on the shell of the machine. If the shell hadn't been strong enough, I'm afraid he would have become a zombie food. But I didn't expect that all these zombies would be killed in just a few minutes. Obviously, all these zombies died in the hands of the two people in front of him. Take me to the warehouse where silver raw materials are stored. This factory produces silver products. The man works here, so it is impossible not to know where the material warehouse is. Good. The man didn't say much and nodded directly. He knew very well that he had no right to refuse a ruthless person who could kill so many zombies in a moment. Moreover, the other party is equivalent to saving his life. Even if the other party does not threaten him, he will not refuse this small request. You two go wait for me outside the factory first. Suemo gave instructions to the two of them. Looking at the two people walking out, Suemo walked to the center of the factory. The dark god book appeared in front of him, and at the same time, his body slowly floated up. Streams of dark energy overflowed crazily from the dark god's book. After the energy overflowed, it was directly converted into gray and white. Then it spread towards the zombie corpses on the ground. The gray energy directly penetrated into the corpse the moment it came into contact with it. As more and more energy penetrates, the corpses began to mutate gradually, and the flesh and blood of these zombies gradually turned into energy and was injected into the bones of the corpses. Over time, the flesh and blood on the zombie body closest to Suemo had completely disappeared, revealing the dense bones inside. At this time, the white bones have become crystal clear, like white jade. Not only have their bodies increased by 1/3, but these skeletons also have a variety of bone weapons in their hands. Knives, guns, shields, and even bows and arrows. The gray energy gradually gathered and compressed in the skull of the skeleton. Until a certain moment, the dark energy that was compressed to the extreme collapsed and contracted inward at an extremely fast speed. After shrinking to the extreme, a red flame appeared in place. The skeleton lying on the ground seemed to be given life, and climbed up from the ground using both hands and feet. Call of the Dead. It is also one of the undead magic recorded in the Dark God Book. Casting this magic can also summon various undead creatures to fight for you. Compared with the undead natural disaster, this kind of magic can only be cast on completely dead corpses, but the advantage is that it does not require the construction of an auxiliary magic circle. There are two ways to cast this magic. One is to directly summon undead creatures from the undead continent in the underworld. The other is like Suemo, who uses it directly on the corpse. Compared with the former, the latter is relatively easier to cast, and since the undead creatures are created by the caster, there is no issue of loyalty. However, compared to the undead on the undead continent, these newly generated undead are often weaker in combat effectiveness. The two people standing at the door looked at the horrifying scene inside, and their hair stood up. Moving skeleton. This kind of thing that has appeared in movies and TV dramas before actually appears before our eyes. This is much more magical than zombies. After all, zombies can be attributed to a certain virus and can be explained by science. How can this be explained scientifically? They don't think that viruses can make a skeleton move. This is completely contrary to common sense. While the two of them were looking at each other with horror, a voice came from not far away from the two of them. Hey, Belle, I didn't expect your kid to survive. When the two heard this, they turned around and saw two men standing dozens of meters away from them, each holding a fire axe in their hands. It was John and Jim who were hiding in the warehouse. Seeing the two of them, Belle instantly felt red and warm. You two bastards, how dare you appear in front of me? After saying that, he was so angry that he rushed towards the two people in the distance. But the reality is cruel. Originally, he was thinner than the two of them. In a 2-on-1 situation, the opponent still had a weapon in his hand. In less than 10 seconds, Belle was knocked to the ground by the two men. Jim stepped on Belle, whose face was covered in blood. It seems you can't wait to see your damn dad. Episode 63. Skeleton Cavalry. From where they stood, they could not see the scene in the factory. The two of them were originally staying in the warehouse, but they were all very surprised when they suddenly saw the two of them appearing outside. They are very clear about the number of zombies in the factory. No matter how hard they thought, neither of them could escape safely from inside. Until John came up with a guess: are all the zombies already dead? In their view, this zombie is likely to be caused by a virus similar to rabies. Similar to rabies, the host is likely to die quickly within a short period of time after being infected with this virus. The more the two thought about it, the more certain they became. After confirming, the two set their sights on the fair-skinned and beautiful Kim Tae-hee. Under normal circumstances, such a beautiful woman would not be able to get the turn of ordinary workers like them too. But things are different now. Although they don't know much about the situation outside, they also know something. At the very least, the city is already full of monsters infected with the virus. Not to mention that the social order has collapsed and no one cares about these things anymore. Even if the virus breaks out only in this city, the army will soon come back to restore order in the city. As long as the two of them are done playing, they will kill each other and then blame these monsters. Then they won't have any trouble. No matter how you calculate it, neither of them will have any impact. Just thinking of these, the two ran directly from the warehouse. Belle, who fell to the ground, still had a hint of stubbornness on his face. You two bastards, I helped you lure all the zombies here, why do you want to kill my father? After Jim heard this, a sarcastic smile appeared on his face. What's the use of keeping that old thing? Is it consuming our limited food? Besides, knowing that you were forced to die in the factory by us, your damn father would probably hate us to death. If we hadn't been on guard all the time, I'm afraid that old guy would have stabbed each of us in the back. You bastards. Hearing this, the anger in Belle's eyes almost burst out. Incompetent rage. John chuckled lightly and raised the fire axe in his hand. Just go and accompany your damn dad. After saying that, the fire axe in his hand was about to chop down on the opponent. Stop. At this time, Kim Tae-hee, who had followed, also understood the whole story. Obviously, these two men threatened Belle with the life of Belle's father to lure all the zombies in the factory into the factory in some way, and then killed the old Belle. After shouting, she mentally contacted Sue Mo in the factory and slowly retreated. With the help of the Devil's Contract, she and Sue Mo can use the power of the contract to send messages. She won't rush forward stupidly. Judging from the difference in size and strength between the two parties, there is no difference between that and giving it away for free. Hearing her cry, Jim showed a sinister smile on his face. Don't worry, you can't run away either. After saying that, he will chase the other party. In the factory, Sue Mo has reached a critical moment in casting spells. Among the thousands of skeleton soldiers that appeared, fully half of them disintegrated directly and turned into white bones. These bones flew directly into the air under some kind of force. Regroup. After a moment, the outline of a skeleton cavalry appeared. At this time, Sue Mo, who received the news from Jean Taishi, felt something in his heart. The flames in the dozens of skulls standing near the door burned violently. Then these skeletons armed with knives and bows and arrows walked towards the door. Sue Mo looked at the skeleton soldiers walking out, retracted his gaze, and focused again on the skeleton cavalry being assembled. There were nearly 500 skeleton soldiers, and the final cavalry consisted of only 36. Judging from the prototype formed so far, the skeleton cavalry is 3 meters tall and holds a bone sword more than 2 meters long in its hand. It looks like it gives people a sense of oppression. The soul fire in the minds of those scattered skeletons is also gradually integrating. Outside. Since Kim Tae-hee had kept a safe distance from the opponent from the beginning, it was obviously impossible for Jim to catch up with the opponent instantly. But he was not panicked. Judging from the running speed of the two, it is obvious that it will not take long for the other party to catch up. At this moment, a group of skeleton soldiers with weapons in hand walked out of the door of the factory. Seeing this scene, Jean Taishi showed an excited smile on his face. But the expression of Jim, who was following him, changed, and after a sudden stop, he stopped on the spot. He looked at the skeleton soldier walking towards Kim Tae-hee in surprise. What the hell? After only hesitating for a moment, he turned around and ran towards the warehouse. Although I don't know what kind of monster this is, it is obvious that it is impossible for this thing to be good friends with him. In the distance, John, who was planning to kill Belle, also noticed the scene here. Seeing those walking skeletons, he was even more frightened. Shit. Throwing away the fire axe in his hand, he turned around and ran towards the warehouse. After the skeleton soldiers came out, they walked directly to Kim Tae-hee and protected her. Kim Tae-hee also gradually recovered from the shock of seeing this thing for the first time. He even stretched out his fingers and poked the skeleton soldier twice on the arm. However, the skeleton soldier didn't react, which gradually made her bolder. After seeing that the other two had been scared away, she ran directly towards Belle, who was lying on the ground. The surrounding skeleton soldiers also ran after him. Always keep her in the middle. After she stepped forward, Belle had slowly climbed up from the ground. At this time, he looked a little miserable, covered in dirt, his face was still bruised, and a few strands of blood flowed from his head to his face, making his face look a little scary at this time. Are you okay? Belle stretched out his hand to wipe the blood on his face and spoke in a low voice. I'm fine. However, the hatred in his eyes could not be concealed. He picked up the fire axe that John had just thrown away from the ground and walked towards the warehouse with a calm expression. But after taking 2 steps, he stopped. The warehouse where the silver bricks are stored is in a warehouse in the southeast corner of the factory. With your ability, the door lock shouldn't be a problem. After saying that, he glanced at the skeletons around him, turned around and continued walking towards the warehouse in the distance. Kim Tae-hee saw the decisive look in the other party's eyes. It was obvious that he was determined to die and wanted to fight those 2 people. He seemed to know that after entering, he might not be a match for the 2 people and would not be able to come back alive, so he took the lead in telling them the location of the warehouse. Looking at the other party's leaving figure, Jean Taishi's expression changed. But after spotting the skeleton soldiers around her, her eyes moved and she tried to give an order to the nearest skeleton. Squat down. Episode 64. Skeleton soldiers, can they evolve? After hearing her order, the skeleton soldier instantly squatted on the ground. There was a hint of surprise on Kim Tae-hee's face. Really? I'll squat. The dozen or so skeleton soldiers around were squatting on the ground uniformly. Seeing this, Kim Tae-hee shouted to Belle, who was walking away. Wait a moment. After saying that, he immediately chased after these skeleton soldiers. Not to mention Belle, the person involved, even she hated those 2 bastards deeply in her heart. And that person just now had evil intentions against her. Now that these skeleton soldiers are taking orders from her, she will naturally want to take revenge. Soon, escorted by a group of skeleton soldiers, Kim Tae-hee arrived at the door of the warehouse. The 2 people who were secretly observing the outside world through the crack in the door suddenly changed their expressions at the same time. When they saw those skeleton soldiers surrounding Kim Tae-hee, they had a bad feeling. Now it seems that the appearance of these skeleton soldiers is obviously related to this woman. However, what reassured the 2 of them was that the warehouse stored some finished silver jewelry, and there were no windows. Even the door of the warehouse was made of metal, with a thickness of more than 150 millimeters, which was strong enough. I'm afraid it's not that easy for ordinary rocket guns to penetrate, let alone the long bone knives in the hands of these skeleton soldiers. Jean Tae-hee stretched out his hand and knocked on the metal door, with a trace of sadness on his face. Judging from the sound, the metal door is quite thick and it is not that easy to open. But I have come here and I have to try it no matter what. She turned her head and said to a skeleton swordsman on the side. Split it. Upon hearing this, the skeleton soldier stepped forward with the bone knife in his hand, and slashed the metal door with the bone knife. Boom. After a loud bang. There is only a groove 2 to 3 centimeters thick on the metal door. The powerful countershock force shook the skeleton soldiers back 2 steps. When the 2 people hiding in the warehouse saw this scene, they let out a sigh of relief and felt relieved. Although they knew that this door was strong enough, facing this legendary creature, the 2 of them had no confidence in their hearts and were always in a state of apprehension. Now it seems that there is no need to worry about this. The expression on Belle's face, which was full of hope when he saw these skeleton soldiers assisting him, also changed. Come out, you 2 bastards. He stepped forward and slammed the fire axe on the door crazily. But apart from making his hands numb, it had no effect. The 2 people inside saw this. There was a proud smile in his mouth. Don't waste your efforts. You can't open this door from the outside. When Jean Taishi heard the laughter inside, his teeth itched with hatred. But she didn't panic. As long as she waited for Suemo to come out, it would be easy to get in. You must know that there is a lot of silver in it, and Suemo will not give up if he thinks about it. But what no one noticed was that after the repelled skeleton soldier paused for a moment, he stepped forward again. This time it didn't chop directly with the knife. Instead, he lifted the bone knife. The soul fire in the head suddenly became strong, and then a trace of flame shot out from the empty eye socket and stained the bone knife. The entire bone knife burned violently in an instant. It was only then that they noticed something strange about the skeleton soldier. Without any hesitation, the skeleton soldier directly thrust the burning bone knife into the door. As if inserted into tofu, the bone knife easily penetrated into the metal door. The two people who were in the warehouse saw the tip of the knife thrust into the door, and their hearts dropped again. In the eyes of the two people, the bone knife moved around the door for a while, drawing an oval shape as high as a person. Saw this scene. The expressions of the two people changed drastically, and they turned around and fled towards the warehouse. But he just took 2 steps. Boom! There was a loud noise, and a large piece of metal that was cut off suddenly flew in, knocking Jim to the ground as he turned to run away. Outside the broken hole in the door, the raised foot of the skeleton soldier slowly fell down. Zila sound. The burning hot metal put a teppanyaki on his back. After Jim let out a scream, he fainted. Outside the door, Jean Taishi and Belle watched the skeleton soldiers throw away the burned bone knives and slowly retreated back, with a hint of shock on their faces. They didn't expect that the skeleton soldier had this skill. But Kim Tae-hee reacted quickly. He waved his hand towards the skeleton soldier behind him. Arrest the 2 people inside. A group of skeleton soldiers more than 2 meters high lowered their heads and got in through the open hole. After a while, Kim Tae-hee and Belle walked in. John and Jim were already held in the hands of 2 skeleton soldiers like chickens. Jim, who fainted, also woke up directly after some troubles. Looking at the skeleton soldiers surrounding them, as well as Belle and Kim Tae-hee walking in, the 2 of them had a look of horror on their faces. "Ma'am, let us go, I apologize." Jim shouted towards Kim Tae-hee. Apologize? If an apology is useful, what else should the police do? She was too lazy to talk nonsense to these 2 people and said to Belle beside her, "Leave it to you." She knew that compared to her, Belle wanted to kill these 2 people with his own hands. After Belle heard this, he thanked him and walked directly towards the 2 of them. Kim Tae-hee turned around and walked out the door. The next scene will be more bloody. She has just entered the apocalypse, and she is still a little uncomfortable with this scene. A moment later, a series of shrill screams came from the warehouse. It lasted for 10 minutes. Hearing the movement inside, he stopped and Kim Tae-hee walked in. On the floor of the warehouse, there were 2 large pools of blood. In the center of the bloodstain lay Jim and John, who had been chopped beyond recognition. "Get rid of these 2 piles of things," Kim Tae-hee ordered. The rest of the skeleton soldiers did not move. Only the skeleton soldier who burned the bone knife stepped forward and inserted his left hand into the body of a corpse, and a trace of soul fire flowed to his hand. Then the flesh and blood of the corpse quickly melted under the burning of the soul fire. In the end, even the bones were no exception and turned directly into liquid and were absorbed by the skeleton soldiers. As the entire corpse disappeared, a bone knife reappeared in the skeleton soldier's right hand. Following the same pattern, another corpse was also absorbed by it. After absorbing 2 corpses, the skeleton soldier's size increased again. Even the bones have become thicker than before. Can this thing still evolve? Seeing this scene, Kim Tae-hee was surprised. But she didn't think much about it. Wave at these skeletons. Collect all the silver items in this storehouse. Afraid that these skeleton soldiers wouldn't understand, she demonstrated it herself. Moment. The whole warehouse became lively. Episode 65. Cavalry turns into infantry. In the factory. The combination of the undead cavalry has also reached its final moment. With the finally integrated soul fire, it sank into the head of the undead knight. A substantial black energy spread on its surface. Finally, it turned into a substantial black armor, tightly wrapping the whole body, including the undead horse. Sumo's body slowly fell from the sky. Looking at the more than 30 undead knights and nearly 500 skeleton soldiers, he nodded with satisfaction. Drawing the auxiliary magic circle must be devoted to it wholeheartedly. With the guards of this undead army, he doesn't have to worry about being disturbed by the zombies when carving the magic circle. At this time, a cold feeling came from the body. There are no physical requirements for performing magic, but in this case, when the undead energy is too dense, his body still cannot avoid being invaded by some escaped undead energy. This can also be regarded as a characteristic of undead magic. Otherwise, those necromancers wouldn't be like evil ghosts. But thanks to his strong mental power, there wasn't much undead energy that escaped. After a little movement, he quickly recovered. He flew forward, kicked an undead knight off his horse, and then sat on it himself. These undead knights were created by him and were completely under his control. After all, the undead energy in their bodies was provided by Suemo. Suemo could restore them to a pile of dead bones with just one thought. Because of this, the moment he raised his foot, he could immobilize the opponent and separate him from the undead war horse. Otherwise, with his strength, even if he kicks his leg off, the opponent will not move at all. The undead knight lying on the ground regained control of his body in an instant and stood up from the ground in a daze. Turning around, he saw Suemo, who had kicked him down. No nonsense, he obediently returned to the back with his big sword. Cavalry becomes infantry. However, this undead knight obviously cannot understand the truth that infantry is always more popular than cavalry. Riding on a tall war horse that was only about 2 meters long, Suemo took the lead and walked towards Jin Taishi and the others. Before they reached the warehouse, Jin Taishi and the others walked out. The main reason is that the movement of the cavalry is a bit loud. When they run together, the ground nearby can feel the vibration. When Kim Tae-hee came out, he looked at the row of cavalry that looked like a city wall, and felt a pressure coming towards him. But when she saw Suemo sitting on the undead horse in the center, she breathed a sigh of relief. Suemo seemed to realize that bringing so many undead creatures was too much of a hindrance. The dark book between his eyebrows flashed, and these undead creatures disappeared in an instant. He was received into a space created in the Dark God Book to specifically store the undead. After he finished summoning the undead, he discovered that a space had automatically opened up in the Dark Book, which could be called an artifact. Watch these undead disappear directly. Only then did Jin Taishi and Jack feel light all over. Just facing these undead, especially the undead knights, they always felt an inexplicable pressure, as if there was a big stone pressing on their chests. Suemo swept towards the warehouse with his mental power. I saw a mountain of various silver jewelry piled up in the middle of the warehouse. Well done. Suemo praised him and walked directly into the warehouse. With a gentle wave of his hand, he collected all the silver jewelry piled up on the ground. Although it seems like a lot, in terms of weight, it is estimated to be only over 100 tons. When Jin Taishi and the two walked in, looking at the disappeared silver jewelry, a strange color flashed in their eyes. However, after seeing Sumo's various incredible methods, the two of them didn't say much. Under the leadership of Jack, Suemo quickly arrived at the warehouse behind the factory where the raw materials were located. After easily unlocking the door, the three of them walked in. Look around. There are piles of special boxes neatly stacked in the warehouse. The boxes are made of metal. In addition to the frame, each side has a mesh structure with large coin holes. Through the small hole, you can see that there are silver bricks nearly 40 centimeters long stored in the box. The weight of each silver brick is marked on it, 15 kilograms. A rough estimate showed that the silver bricks in the room exceeded 1,000 tons. It was enough for Suemo to arrange the magic circle. After putting away the silver bricks in the room, Suemo turned to look at Jack beside him. My goal has been achieved. Seeing that you are still cooperative, I will give you a ride. A space door opened at Jack's feet, and before he could react, he screamed and fell in. Los Angeles. The second most populous city in the United States. After the doomsday comes, it will naturally be one of the cities with the most zombies. Since the area was the same, Suemo naturally chose the city with the most zombies. Normally speaking, New York, which has the largest population, is the most suitable location for arranging the formation. But considering the geographical factors, Suemo discarded it. Although New York has the largest population, first of all, the city's shape is too irregular. The magic circle is a circular area, and it is not easy to cover it at all. Of course, this is only a secondary reason. The most important thing is that there are too many bodies of water in New York, which can easily lead to a waste of space. Suemo plans to use the space gate to transport more zombies into the formation. In this case, Los Angeles, which is a regular circle with almost all land inside, is the most suitable candidate. Ken Murray Park in southwest Los Angeles. Suemo and Jean Taishi walked out of the space door. Where did you throw him? Jean Taishi walked out of the portal and asked doubtfully. An uninhabited island in the Pacific has abundant resources and is a very suitable place for survival in the wilderness. Kim Tae-hee was speechless after hearing this. But at this time, the safest places are indeed those uninhabited islands. Of course, Suemo didn't intend to let the other party start from scratch, and even threw a bone knife to the other party. With this weapon, he should be able to live a comfortable life on the island. The only drawback is that it's a little lonely. At worst, I'll send him a partner later. While the two were talking, dozens of zombies wandering around, smelling the scent of strangers, roared and rushed towards this direction. Sumo's eyebrows flashed, and a gray vortex appeared in front of him. There was a rumbling sound. A group of undead knights rushed out from inside and spread out in all directions, crushing all the surrounding zombies. The zombies had no intention of resisting when faced with these undead creatures. Even the chicken racks have a trace of meat, but these skeleton racks have nothing but white bones on them. The zombies couldn't arouse any interest at all. Immediately afterwards, nearly 500 skeleton warriors of various types also rushed out. Suemo waved around. Clear the place. Episode 66. Magic Welding Girl. Received Sumo's order. These skeleton warriors and undead knights swept in all directions. This was the first place Suemo chose on the map to arrange the auxiliary array. Judging from the scale covering the entire Los Angeles, the diameter of each auxiliary circle is no less than 300 meters. If you want to use mithril to draw a magic circle within this range, there must be no obstacles on the ground. Under the command of Sumo, these undead creatures began crazy demolition work. All obstacles in the entire park, including trees, have been cleared away by them. Suemo looked at the undead creatures that were frantically sweeping around. He raised his right hand and reached into a space door that opened next to him. When he came out, he already held a 4 to 5 centimeter thick book in his hand. The mark of the dark divine book between his eyebrows flashed. A burst of black energy shot into the book in his hand, wrapping the book directly. Under the wrap of energy, the appearance of the book began to slowly change. All the original contents on it had been erased, replaced by magical spells and release methods. After a while, the surrounding energy seeped into the inside of the book. At this time, the appearance of the book is 80% similar to the Book of Darkness. Kim Tae-hee threw the book aside. What's recorded above is part of black magic. Try practicing it. Oh, by the way, if you have something you don't understand, don't bother me. After saying that, regardless of the other party's reaction, Suemo walked to the side and sat down in the open space, planning to use the secret method to prepare these silver bricks into mithril. After hearing this, Jean Taishi's eyes lit up. He hurriedly took the books that Suemo threw over. Can't wait to open the book. Looking at the name of magic on the first page, space teleportation. A look of surprise instantly appeared on her face. After you learn this, you can't just go back to Nanbang to save your sister. Kim Tae-hee muttered excitedly. Thinking of this, she quickly calmed down her excitement and began to study it seriously. On the other side, Suemo waved his hand gently, and a large pile of silver jewelry appeared on the ground in front of him. A stream of purple flame shot out from his hand and floated in midair. Then, under the control of telepathy, the silver ornaments on the ground slowly flew into the purple flame. Suemo spent the whole day refining mithril repeatedly. It's about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. The sky gradually darkened. Suemo put the last liquid mithril into the space ring. Take a deep breath. Repeated movements for a long time made him mentally exhausted. He turned around and looked at Kim Tae-hee not far away. The other party seems to have been immersed in crazy magic practice. Look at it from Sumo's perspective. Kim Tae-hee, who had her back turned to him, seemed to be transformed into a welding girl, with bursts of light flashing in front of him. From time to time, a few purple bright spots like Mars flew out. He was mumbling something from time to time. Suemo did not disturb the other party, but turned his head and looked around. The surrounding area within a few hundred meters has been completely cleared by those undead creatures. Fortunately, this place is located in the suburbs, and there are not many zombies around. The only few that were attracted by the movement here were cleaned up. The debris cleaned up in the park was piled up by these undead on the outside of the circle, forming a natural barrier. At this time, the undead were standing scattered inside the barrier, guarding against zombies that might rush in. Undead creatures have this advantage and do not need to rest at all. Success! An excited growl came from behind. Suemo turned around and looked. Jean Taishi almost jumped up with excitement. In front of her, a space door was slowly opening. Seeing this, Suemo hurriedly walked over and pulled Jean Taishi away from the space door. At the same time, a dozen undead knights guarding the outside rushed over under his order. Having had experience, he knows very well that there may be some deviations when opening the space door without skill. God knows where her space door leads to. In case you drive directly into a zombie group. Kim Tae-hee, who is so close, is likely to become his first magical sacrifice. Fortunately, what he expected did not happen. As the space door opened to the height of one person, the two of them could clearly see the scene on the other side. It looks like the situation is in a classroom. Judging from the writing on the classroom wall, this is obviously a school in Nanbang. After a while, Kim Tae-hee pointed at a certain location on the wall and shouted excitedly. Seoul National University Suwon campus, this is my sister's school. After saying that, he will rush into the space door. However, Suemo pulled her back by the collar. What sister, what's going on? She woke up when she felt the pain in a certain part of her body. Although she has learned a magic, she is not much different from ordinary people in terms of combat effectiveness. If you want to save your sister, you still have to rely on Suemo. Thinking of this, she quickly told her sister's story. After speaking, she asked cautiously. Can I borrow a few of those skeleton soldiers, just for one night? She is well aware of the horror of zombies and understands that the longer it goes on, the smaller the chance of her sister surviving. Suemo nodded. Yes, but there are conditions. I agree to any conditions. Kim Tae-hee had a determined look on her face. Okay, the terms will be negotiated after you rescue your sister. After saying that, Suemo waved his hand, and the 50 skeleton soldiers on the periphery ran towards this side. Stand behind the two of them. Then, 3 of the undead knights blocking the 2 men walked out, and one of them got off his horse. Finally, Jean Taishi sat on an undead horse, followed by 2 undead knights and 50 skeleton soldiers, and entered the space gate. Judging from the fact that it took less than a day to successfully cast a spell like Space Gate, the opponent's talent for practicing magic is not bad. Besides, you can also take this opportunity to train each other. After all, after he leaves, she will have to lead these undead legions to clean up the zombies. If you can't handle this matter, how will you control those undead souls? Looking at the slowly closing space door, Suemo left these undead knights here to guard, and returned to the yacht. Coming out of the space door, Alyssa was lying on the bed board. Seeing Suemo walking out of the space door, she immediately climbed out of bed excitedly. He walked forward and looked at the slowly closing space door behind Suemo with strange eyes. This too? Suemo nodded numbly. After a busy day of running around, his body was almost unable to bear it due to his physical condition. When Alyssa saw this, she came up with a smile on her face. Hiss. What are you doing? Episode 67. Self-entertainment is prohibited. Early the next morning, Suemo held his waist and walked out of the room. He finally knew who he was in this world and was unwilling to let Alyssa break up with her boyfriend. In addition to satisfying his special little hobby, it turns out that there is another reason. This woman is really poisonous. It's fine to treat her as a good friend and communicate with her occasionally. But if she treats her as a girlfriend, with the physical condition of the original owner, I'm afraid she won't be able to survive a year. Come to the deck of the yacht. Harry was looking at the water around him in trance. Hearing footsteps behind him, Harry turned around and saw Suemo walking up. After hesitating for a moment, he asked, "Who are you anyway?" As the original owner's best friend, it was obvious that from this less than a day's contact, he easily judged that the person in front of him was no longer his good friend. Sumo's expression didn't change at all when he heard this. He was not surprised that the other party would find out. Of course, this was also the reason why he didn't deliberately hide it. It doesn't matter who I am, but you should know that I have no intention of harming you. Seeing Suemo, he did not deny it. Harry had a look of loneliness on his face. Being able to risk his life and save Suemo together showed that Harry really regarded the original owner as his best friend. Can you help me? Harry hesitated before speaking. You say. Can you send me to a deserted island with no people? Harry guessed from Sumo's ability to disappear and reappear quietly that he should have this ability. The amount of fuel in this yacht can, at most, travel a few hundred nautical miles. As far as he knew, there was no suitable island nearby. Sure. Sumo nodded. At this time, living on an uninhabited island is indeed the safest option. After saying that, Sumo snapped his fingers, and the space door slowly opened beside them. On the other side, Bell, who was cutting down a tree with a white bone knife, turned his head when he heard the noise. Seeing Sumo on the other side, a smile appeared on his face. Hi. Bell said hello. It can be seen that the other party seems to be very satisfied with life on the island. Half an hour later, the space door slowly closed. I just learned from Harry that his parents passed away a year ago and he doesn't have any relatives in the world right now, so he chose to live on an island. Sumo had already left all the useful materials on the ship with them. The food alone is enough for the two of them to consume for several months. Maybe the zombies will be cleared away before they are all consumed. After sending Harry away, he had some problems. What to do with Alyssa on this ship? Just leave it alone. Obviously it wasn't appropriate. Sumo couldn't do such a ruthless thing. After hesitating for a moment, Sumo made a decision. I might as well sign a devil's contract. Staying here can be of some use. Thinking of this, Sumo returned to the bedroom again. The sound of opening the door woke the other party up, and Alyssa looked at Sumo standing at the door. Put on a voluptuous figure on the bed. Honey, do you want to do some morning exercise? Sumo stroked his forehead. Looking at the other person, he didn't look like a magic material, but more like a succubus. Sit tight, I have something serious to talk to you about. Next, Sumo recounted the devil's contract to the other party. Sign the contract at the front, the choice is yours. After listening to this, Alyssa showed an excited look on her face. Yes, of course. Honey, hurry up, I can't wait any longer. As the devil's contract sank into Sumo's eyebrows, the contract officially came into effect. Waited for more than 10 seconds. Alyssa looked at herself doubtfully. Is this the end? What else do you want? At least let's have some close explosion or something. Sumo speechlessly threw a book containing black magic to the other party. You can study it slowly by yourself, I'm leaving first. After saying that, Sumo opened the space door and left directly. Seeing Sumo leaving, Alyssa didn't take it seriously and directly opened the book in her hand and started reading. After seeing the space teleportation skill, she licked her lips. Wow, this is a wonderful skill for entertaining yourself. Ken Murray Park. The undead who had stood all night showed no signs of fatigue and still strictly followed Sumo's orders. The dark book appeared in front of him. Quickly turned to the page of the auxiliary magic circle needed for the undead disaster. Looking at the complex lines on it, Sumo first drew an outline on the ground that was magnified tens of thousands of times, and then controlled the liquid mithril he had refined earlier to draw along these outlines. If you want to successfully draw the magic circle, you don't allow any mistakes in your hands. For a whole morning, Sumo concentrated on sculpting the formation. Until near noon, the last line was integrated with the previous one. The entire auxiliary array is finally completed. The moment the magic circle was completed, a ray of purple light began to flow along the lines of the magic circle, until the entire magic circle lit up, and then the light disappeared again. A smile appeared on Sumo's face. This means that this magic circle has been completely completed. Judging from this speed, it will take at least 3 or 4 days to complete all the magic circles. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, Sumo planned to take a rest and took a look at Jin Taishi's situation. Close your eyes. He immediately felt 2 spots of light in his consciousness. This is another function of the devil's contract. You can observe the scene around the other party of the contract at any time. It was obvious that these 2 spots of light were Kim Tae-hee and Alyssa, who had signed a contract with him. The attempted link was a light point farther away, and a picture appeared in his mind. Nambang is more than 100 kilometers west of Suwon City. Kim Tae-hee rode on a skeleton horse more than 2 meters high, followed by 50 skeleton soldiers. At this time, the size of these skeleton soldiers has almost increased by 1/3, and the white bones on their bodies have become like white jade, shining with crystal light. Carefully control the skeleton horse under you, trying not to make any noise. After arriving here last night, she directly controlled these skeleton soldiers to clear out the zombies in the entire university. Fortunately, the university was not located in the urban area of Suwon City, so the noise did not attract a large number of zombies. After cleaning up, she rummaged through the zombie corpses. Fortunately, her sister Jenny was not found inside. After that, she searched around the university. Judging from the bloodstains drawn by a car at the gate of the campus, it is inferred that someone drove a vehicle towards the west from the campus after the zombie virus broke out. You can reach the seaside by driving in this direction for 2 or 3 hours. She also speculated that these people should be planning to go to sea. There was no trace of Jenny around, so she could only pray, and Jenny followed her in the car and left here. Then she didn't have time to rest and chased him directly. Fortunately, there is only one road that bypasses the city and leads to the seaside, so there is no need to worry about taking a side road. But until now, less than 30 kilometers away from the seaside, there is still no trace of the car. She couldn't help but feel a little uneasy in her heart. At this time, the suburbs of Cheonan City are less than 10 kilometers away from the seaside. A bus broke down on the roadside. At this time, a man who was not tall but extremely strong stood in front of the rear tire of the car and kicked the flat tire. Sheba! The damn car broke down at this time. At this time, several college students in school uniforms got out of the car. Teacher Jija, how are you doing? Episode 68. The plotted Jija. The car is broken down, we need to walk the rest of the distance. This place is located in the wild, and it is obviously impossible to find a new car. Jija frowned and checked on his phone. We are less than 10 kilometers away from the seaside. Only by boarding a ship on the seaside can we be safe. These students have a deep understanding of this. Those zombies have extremely sensitive hearing and sense of smell. The slightest movement may attract them. When we were resting in the car last night, no one could sleep well. Everyone was always in a state of anxiety, fearing that zombies would follow the smell and catch up. Fortunately, the night was spent peacefully. If they live in this kind of nervous mood all day long, they may collapse first without the zombies eating them. At this time, a male student in the crowd looked at the worried look on the face of another girl on the side. Jenny, don't worry, I will protect you. After Jenny heard this, she looked at the other person's body shape, which was as thin as a grasshopper, and rolled her eyes speechlessly. You'd better protect yourself first. Also, please call me Jenny Jean from now on. After saying that, Jenny ignored the other party's ugly expression and went directly back to the car to put her backpack on her back. People around him also returned to the car and packed up. Zhao Dongxiu looked at Jenny in the car with a gloomy face, a trace of imperceptible cruelty flashing in his eyes. He has been pursuing her for 2.5 years. But until now, the other party has never looked at her. Bitch, you forced me to do this. An idea flashed through his mind. At this time, Jija walked out of the car, carrying a backpack. Hey, brat, what are you doing? Hurry up and carry the things you need on your back. No one will share the hard-earned food with you. On the drive here. The car once passed a gas station. After cleaning up the only dozen zombies with their cars, they collected a large amount of food and water from the supermarket at the gas station. The car is almost fully loaded. But it is obviously impossible to take them all away at the moment. It can only depend on each person's physical strength and how much they can carry. After Zhao Dongxiu heard this, he quickly nodded with a smile on his face. Okay, Teacher Jija. After speaking, he quickly turned around and walked towards the car door. But after getting out of Jija's sight, the coldness in his eyes flashed away. If you want to implement your plan, you must first get rid of this troublesome guy. He and Jija are the only 2 men in this team. As long as there is no other party, he can do whatever he wants. But if he wanted to get rid of the opponent, he had to find a way. He had seen the opponent kill 3 zombies with his bare hands before. After a few minutes, 7 or 8 students followed Jija and walked towards the seaside. A journey of 10 kilometers is not far. But if you rely on walking, it will take at least nearly 2 hours. What's more, these people each carry a large bag of food. Just over half an hour. Each of these students was exhausted and panting. And Zhao Dongxiu was almost out of breath due to a long-term lack of exercise. At this time, several people saw the shadow of a small town appearing in the distance. There's a car over there. A girl's voice rang in everyone's ears. Everyone followed her gaze. Sure enough, a pickup truck was parked on the road outside the town, and the zombies nearby were somehow attracted away or something, and not a single zombie could be seen. The car door was open, but the distance was too far and there was no way to see clearly what was inside the car. Teacher Jija, why don't we go over and take a look? If the car can start, it will save us a lot of time. The girl continued to speak. Jija hesitated for a moment. No, that location is too close to the town. If zombies suddenly rush out of it, none of us can escape. Hearing this, these people nodded one after another. Indeed, with the coast less than 2 hours away, there was no need to take the risk. After figuring it out, they continued to grit their teeth and rushed towards the seaside. Only Zhao Dongxiu, who was deliberately walking behind, moved his eyes and gradually slowed down. While no one was paying attention, he left the team and quietly walked towards the car outside the town. A few minutes later, he came to the car. Looking inside the car, a smile appeared on his face. There were no zombies in the car, and the car key was clearly inserted into the keyhole. Zhao Dongxiu did not hesitate, put his backpack on the car, and then tried to start the car. After all, only one day had passed in the apocalypse, and the car started smoothly once. He turned the front of the car and did not drive away directly. Instead, he took a deep breath and pressed the horn on the steering wheel. Dip. The harsh sound echoed in the quiet town. Almost instantly, the town began to boil. The roars of zombies sounded one after another, and in less than 10 seconds, a zombie appeared at the end of the road behind the car and ran towards the direction of the car. And while running, the size of the zombie swarm is gradually expanding. After seeing that the distance was almost there, Zhao Dongxiu drove the car directly in the direction of everyone. The moment the car horn sounds, the people who were walking with difficulty also stopped and looked in the direction where the horn sounded. In this quiet environment, this sound was unusually obvious. It was only then that a girl screamed in surprise. Teacher Jija, Zhao Dongxiu is missing. After Jija heard this, his expression changed. Not good. He instantly realized that Zhao Dongxiu should be driving the car, and the direction from which the whistle had just sounded confirmed this. You guys go quickly, I'll go over and take a look. After Jija gave the order, he planned to check it out from a distance. If there was a chance, he would naturally not want to give up on everyone. But before he could start, he saw the pickup truck appearing at the end of the road. Not far behind the car were a group of chasing zombies. The pickup truck quickly caught up with everyone and stopped directly next to Jenny. Get in the car quickly. Zhao Dongxiu pretended to be anxious. After Jija saw it, he glared at him fiercely. I'll settle the score with you later. After saying that, although he was not panicked, he walked directly to the girls and helped them climb into the compartment behind the car. After everyone went up, Jija decided to go up. At this time, the zombies were still 60 or 70 meters away from them. It's totally in time. However, Zhao Dongxiu, who had been staring at the rearview mirror for a long time, did not give him this chance. He stepped on the accelerator hard, and the car let out an angry roar before flying out, knocking Jija to the ground as he tried to get in the car. Jija, who fell to the ground, let out an angry roar. It was obvious that the other party wanted him to die deliberately. He got up from the ground and chased madly in the direction of the car. Episode 69. The Sinister Zhao Dongxiu. Jenny, who was sitting in the passenger seat of the car, saw this and looked at Zhao Dongxiu angrily. What are you doing? Teacher Jija hasn't gotten on the bus yet. Really, I'm sorry I didn't pay attention. Zhao Dongxiu had a wild smile on his face. Seeing his expression, Jenny understood immediately. Did you do it on purpose? There was an expression of disbelief on her face. You know, they, including Zhao Dongxiu in front of them, were able to escape from the school thanks to Teacher Jija, but they didn't expect that Zhao Dongxiu in front of them was so bad. He will even harm the person who saved his life. Behind the car. It was obviously impossible for Jija to catch up with the speeding car. Soon the car disappeared from his sight. Siba. Jija cursed, then threw away his backpack and started running at full speed. He turned around and glanced at the distance between him and the zombies behind him, but he was not happy at all. Although the distance has increased, it is impossible for him to maintain the speed for too long, while the zombies behind him can keep running to death like this. He turned around and looked around. On both sides of the empty road, only a willow tree more than 10 meters high was located less than 100 meters away from him. Without any hesitation, he ran directly towards the willow tree. After arriving under the tree, with a few quick moves, he climbed along the main trunk to the top of the tree. Soon the zombies also chased after them, swarming towards the tree. Jija forcefully broke off a dry branch from the tree and kept stabbing down the zombies that were near him. But depending on the situation, it won't take a few minutes for these zombies to reach his height just by relying on this stack. Jija had no choice. His strength was almost exhausted. If he kept running, he would probably be caught up by these zombies in less than a minute. By then, there would be no chance of survival for him. Looking at the zombie group that was gradually rising in height, Jija showed a trace of despair on his face. This time, in the distance, a group of white figures approached here. Finally, it stopped 100 meters away from the trees. The leader is Kim Tae-hee, who was riding a skeleton horse. Jin Taishi looked at the scene in the distance. A man squatted on the top of the tree like a gorilla, and from time to time, he used the wooden stick in his hand to push down the zombies approaching him. Although the scene is somewhat funny, depending on the situation, the other party will soon be unable to support it. She waved gently. The skeleton soldiers behind him rushed towards the zombies. Just like chopping melons and vegetables, within a few minutes, all the hundreds of zombies surrounding the tree were chopped down. Jija, who was squatting on the tree, changed his expression when he saw the skeleton for the first time. What the hell is this? Not only can Deadman run, but now he can even stab someone with a knife? However, when I noticed Kim Tae-hee sitting on a horse in the distance, it was obvious that these skeletons were controlled by someone. He also breathed a sigh of relief. Humans are better than these monsters who can't communicate. After a while, Kim Tae-hee rode a skeleton horse to the foot of the big tree and looked up at Jija, who was squatting on the top of the tree. Did you run away from college? She asked straight to the point, with a look of expectation on her face. On the way here, she saw the broken-down bus. This place is not too far from the bus location, so she made this guess. Hearing this, Jija's eyes lit up and he quickly slid down from the tree using his hands and feet. Yes, I am a teacher at Seoul National University. Who are you? Among the people you escaped with, was there a girl named Jenny? Jin Taishi asked hurriedly, and then added something after that. I'm Jenny's sister. Jija finally understood and nodded. He recounted what happened before and then pointed in a direction. That bastard took them away from this direction. Kim Tae-hee breathed a sigh of relief when he heard the news that Jenny was safe, but he learned from the other party's words that Zhao Dongshu's boy obviously didn't have any good intentions. There was no hesitation at the moment. He waved directly to another undead knight on the side. The undead knight stepped forward on his horse, lifted Jija from the ground with one hand, and placed him behind him. Then, under the leadership of Jin Taishi, they chased in the direction of the car at high speed. Seaside. The pickup truck suddenly stopped outside the dock. There were bloodstains everywhere on the ground of the dock. But there were no zombies. Judging from the situation, they were all attracted to leave for some reason. Everyone got out of the car. Several girls sitting in the back car criticized Zhao Dongshu, who got off the cab. How could you leave teacher Jija behind? That's right, obviously there's still enough time. I think he did it on purpose. Listening to the crowd's voices, Zhao Dongshu showed a crazy expression on his face. Shut up. After saying that, he stepped forward and kicked the two girls who were the loudest to the ground. If you dare to talk any more, believe it or not, I will throw you out of here? Seeing his ferocious expression, the other girls were too frightened to speak. Seeing that everyone was shocked by him, Zhao Dongshu showed a satisfied smile on his face, and then turned to show off his cards to Jenny. But as soon as he turned his head, he saw a baseball bat with bloodstains coming towards him. It hit him on the head with a thud. Zhao Dongshu suffered a heavy blow to the head and fell to the ground, covering his head with both hands. However, he was slow to react and reached out to grab the baseball bat that attacked again. And grabbed it with one hand. Jenny, who was holding the wooden stick, was pulled and staggered. Siba. Zhao Dongshu stood up holding the stick and looked at Jenny with a gloomy expression. You have no shame. When Jenny saw this, she quickly turned around and ran away. She seemed to have overestimated her own strength, and a full blow did not knock the opponent unconscious. And all the baseball bats picked up from the ground were taken away by the opponent. The innate physical difference makes it easy for even such a weak man to handle an ordinary woman. When Zhao Dongshu saw that the other party was about to run, he suddenly hit her leg with a stick. Jenny screamed in pain and fell to the ground. The other 5 or 6 girls were frightened and fled in all directions when they saw this scene. In their opinion, Zhao Dongshu has gone crazy. Seeing several people running away behind him, Zhao Dongshu remained unmoved. His original goal was Jenny Jean. Compared with her, those women with faces like flatbreads couldn't arouse his interest at all. Looking at Jenny's young and charming face, he licked his lips. But he didn't get carried away. Although there are currently no zombies in this place, there is no telling when a group will come out from somewhere. Looking at a fishing boat not far away, he ignored Jenny's resistance and pulled the other person towards the fishing boat. Episode 70. Embarrassed, Kim Tae-hee. Zhao Dongshu had just taken 2 steps. I heard a slight running sound in the distance. Turn around and look. Suddenly they saw the direction they came from, a group of skeletons with only skeletons left, running towards this direction at great speed. Running at the front were 3 skeleton war horses. Seeing this, the expressions of Zhao Dongshu and Jenny changed at the same time. Zhao Dongshu quickly quickened his pace. Fortunately, he was not too far away from the ship at this time. In a few breaths, he had already reached the ship. At this time, he also breathed a sigh of relief. His family has a small amount of assets, and he once learned how to drive a boat during vacation. Although it is different from the fishing boat in front of him, the control methods are similar. He was confident that he could get the ship started. In the distance, Jija, who was sitting on the skeleton horse, saw that the other party was walking towards the cabin, and the expression on his face changed. Oops. Now the distance between the 2 parties is still a full 300 to 400 meters. If the other party is allowed to move the ship, it may really allow the other party to escape. After all, no matter how you look at it, these skeletons do not have the ability to fight in the water. After entering the water, these skeletons will probably sink to the bottom in an instant. He was almost cheated to death by this kid, and the resentment he felt towards Zhao Dongshu was not ordinary. Now he wanted to tear that kid into pieces. When he saw that the other person was about to run away, he was naturally itching with hatred. Kim Tae-hee, who was sitting on the skeleton horse in front, naturally saw this scene. But the look on her face was very happy. Although the distance is still quite far. But she could still vaguely recognize that the girl was her sister, Jenny. As long as the other party is alive, it is the greatest good news. As for her being kidnapped by the other party, she was not worried at all. With the ability to teleport through space, she can easily go to the ship and rescue Jenny. But there's no need to bother with that right now. She waved her arm towards the skeleton behind her, and a message was conveyed. This is also the precise way to control the undead troops, recorded in the Dark God's book. As long as the orders are not too complicated, these undead can execute them accurately. Of course, this is for low-level undead. The IQs of some advanced undead are no less than those of humans, or even higher than ordinary humans, so there is no need for such trouble. A running skeleton archer suddenly accelerated. The 2 skeleton soldiers in front of it had their hands folded. The archer jumped up, stepped on their overlapping hands, and with the help of the power of the 2 skeleton soldiers, it flew directly into the sky dozens of meters high. After reaching the highest point, the skeleton archer knocked an arrow with his bow and shot a bone arrow into the distance. The bone arrow turned into a stream of light and disappeared in a flash. In almost a moment, he crossed a distance of several hundred meters, penetrated Zhao Dongshu's belly, and pinned him to the deck. Ah! Zhao Dongshu let out a scream. Seeing this, Jenny Jean on the side quickly took the opportunity to get rid of the opponent's hand and hid in the cabin nearby. She looked at the terrifying monster approaching in the distance, sweat breaking out on her forehead. She doesn't know how to sail a boat like Zhao Dongshu, so her only way out now is to escape by diving. Taking a deep breath, she hurriedly ran out of the cabin and ran to the side. But before she could jump down, she heard a familiar shout from the distance. Turning around, she suddenly discovered that among the monsters rushing over, the one riding on the skeleton horse at the front was her sister, Kim Tae-hee. Ernie? Soon Kim Tae-hee had arrived. After getting off the skeleton horse, she ran forward and hugged Jenny. After a while, the 2 separated. Jenny looked at her sister in disbelief. Oni, aren't you in the United States? Why are you here? What's going on with these monsters behind you? After hearing this, Taishi explained to the other party. On the other side, Jija came to Zhao Dongshu, who was crying in pain on the ground. He clenched his fists. You brat, if you fall into my hands, I will make you understand what will happen if you try to assassinate the teacher. After saying that, fists as big as casseroles kept falling on the opponent's head. When the two sisters Kim Tae-hee came over, the other party had already passed away. Seeing the miserable look on the other person's face, Jenny Jean showed no mercy and stepped forward and kicked him a few more times. "You want to take advantage of me, Jenny?" Jenny Jean stuck out her tongue when she saw her sister's serious expression. "Oni, I was wrong. I promise to be careful with my words in the future. Since her parents passed away, her sister has been taking care of her, and she loves and fears the sister at the same time." Later, Kim Tae-hee also thanked Ki Cheol. He also asked the skeleton soldiers to go to a nearby supermarket to help him collect a large amount of supplies and stack them in the warehouse on the ship. "After all, without him, my sister might have died on campus long ago." Watching the ship slowly sailing away, Jenny Jean asked, "Where do we go next?" Kim Tae-hee gave her an inscrutable look. "Just follow my sister." After saying that, she stretched out her right hand and slid it gently. The portal slowly opened in front of the two of them. Having just gained this ability, she couldn't wait to show it off in front of Jenny. Sure enough, Jenny's eyes widened when she saw the scene. When Jean Taishi saw the other party's expression, a trace of satisfaction appeared on his face. Wealth and honor do not return to their hometown, just like walking in brocade at night. With this kind of ability, how can you not pretend to be in front of familiar people? But as the space door slowly opened, she looked stunned when she saw the scenery on the other side. The space door opened over the boundless ocean. Jenny naturally saw the scene over there. He looked at her suspiciously. "Oni, will we be fed to fish if we go there?" Jean Taishi closed the space door with his hand and pretended to be calm. "I stayed up all night to find you. Maybe I was too tired, so I inevitably made some mistakes. Come again." After saying that, she calmed down, took a deep breath, and slid her right hand again. Another space door opened in front of the two of them. Looking at the icy and snowy scene on the other side, and the penguins staring blankly at them, Jenny finally couldn't help it anymore and looked at the other person questioningly. "Oni, can you do it?" After 2 consecutive mistakes, Kim Tae-hee finally couldn't stand it any longer, with a look of embarrassment on her face. But just then, on the Antarctic glacier inside the space door, less than 2 meters away from her opening the space door, another space door opened, leading to the square where Suemo was. Another one appears. "What's going on?" Jenny Jean shouted in surprise. Seeing this scene, Kim Tae-hee was just slightly stunned before reacting. This was undoubtedly Suemo helping him relieve his embarrassment. Immediately, she regained her calm expression and reached out to wipe away the sweat that had just appeared on her head due to nervousness. "Of course I saw you were too hot, so I helped you cool down during the transit." After saying that, he took the lead and walked towards the portal. She had just stepped into the space door, wearing only single clothes, and shuddered. Episode 71. What is the use of space teleportation? Suemo looked at Jean Taishi, who walked out of the space door. A smile appeared on his face. After Jean Taishi noticed it, a look of embarrassment flashed across his face. After Jenny walked through, her eyes looked at the surrounding scene curiously. Looking at Suemo, standing up from the ground, there was a hint of curiosity in his eyes. Is this the man that my sister said was the man who gave her special abilities? Suemo noticed the other person's eyes and turned to look over. Jean Jenny, who has always been fearless, saw the other party looking over and quickly lowered her head. You know, this is the legendary devil. Regarding the contract, Kim Taishi had already told her in detail. Of course, Suemo could completely prevent her from revealing all this, but he didn't do that. Sumo's idea was very simple. Jenny Jean must also sign a contract with her. This was also the condition that he had already thought of for the other party to borrow the undead. It's not that she fancied the other person, but that he understands that Jean Jenny's status in Kim Tae-hee's heart is even higher than her own. This is an unstable factor for Suemo. After all, Kim Tae-hee is willing to die for the other party, so when the binding force of the contract conflicts with the safety of her sister, she will undoubtedly choose Kim Jenny. There is no need to kill the opponent directly. Then Jean Jenny's soul can only be under his control. In this way, Kim Tae-hee will execute his orders unconditionally. After he returned, the undead army here was all in the opponent's hands, and it was impossible for him to keep an eye on this side all the time. This involves hundreds of millions of points, and there is no room for any surprises. Suemo passed his conditions to Kim Tae-hee through the power of the contract. After hearing this, Jean Taishi's expression changed. She can do whatever she wants, but she doesn't want Jenny to sign such a contract with the other party. But after thinking for a moment, she nodded directly. Putting aside, even if he refuses, it will be of no use. Instead, it will anger Suemo, and neither of them will end well. Even if the other party lets them go, she still can't get over the hurdle in her heart. After all, if it hadn't been for Suemo, neither of the sisters would have survived. Jenny might even become someone else's plaything, and her life would be worse than death. In comparison, having the soul come out first and be controlled by the opponent seems a bit insignificant. After thinking for a while, she turned around and pulled Jean aside, intending to persuade the other party. Is it really okay? Unexpectedly, after she proposed it, Jenny's face showed a look of excitement, as if to the other party, this was a great thing. No, you heard me clearly, you need to sacrifice your soul. From now on, just a thought from the other party will make your life worse than death. So what? Jenny's face showed a look of taking it for granted. If you want to get something, you have to give it. If not, why would anyone lend you their power? Just because of your face? Don't be ridiculous. If someone has this kind of ability, he will care about a woman like you. As long as the other party thinks about it, all the women in the world belong to him. Even if he uses force on you, what can you do? Hearing this, Kim Tae-hee suddenly understood. My thoughts were still stuck before the end of the world, but I didn't expect that Jenny was much more thorough than I thought. Okay, I'm a little superficial. A moment later, the same contract was signed. As for magic, give him a copy of your book. Also, you two should practice the magic of space teleportation first. You should try to master this magic within a few days. As for her, it depends on her talent. After saying that, Suemo ignored the two of them and came to the zombie corpses piled outside. Summoning of the dead. He was ready to go to the next location to set up the magic circle. During this period of time, it is impossible not to leave some undead guards on the completed magic circle to avoid being destroyed by zombies or surviving humans. 10 minutes later, thousands of skeleton soldiers and more than 30 undead knights were arranged neatly in front of him. Opening the space door, he walked in with these undead soldiers. It took 3 or 4 days. Suemo wandered in all directions of the city. Until this day. As a ray of light flashed, the last auxiliary magic circle was finally completed. After leaving a group of undead to guard him, Suemo came to the Wilshire Center in central Los Angeles. It is also the tallest building in the city. In a hotel room on the top floor. The two sisters, Kim Tae-hee, live here temporarily. At this time, the two of them were sitting cross-legged on the balcony of the living room. Practice space teleportation in midair outside the window. In this way, even if the other end of the space door is crowded with zombies, you don't have to worry about threatening your own safety. The talents of Kim Jenny and Kim Tae-hee are almost the same. The space teleportation was successfully performed almost on the first day. Suemo was a little surprised when he learned all this. For this reason, he took the time to go back to the ship and found that Alyssa had also learned this magic. It is possible for a single person to have such a high talent, but for 3 people to have such high talent, Suemo has confirmed that this does not seem to have anything to do with talent. He guessed that it might be due to some characteristics of the contract or this different world. Instruct the two to leave the building. Suemo then flew out of the window and floated to the side of the roof. With a slight stroke of his right hand, a portal of huge amounts appeared on the roof of the building. On the other side of the portal is a cruise ship of huge amounts. Because 1/3 of the space door is opened below the water surface, this causes seawater to swarm in this direction. The cruise ship, driven by the seawater, rushed towards the space door. After a while, the cruise ship rushed out of the space door with the seawater and hit the roof of the building hard. Huge amounts of impact force caused the bottom of the cruise ship to sink into the top of the building. The cruise ship landed steadily on the roof of the building. Except for the very bottom, the rest of it extends out of the building. And due to the slope at the bottom of the ship, it is basically impossible for zombies to climb onto the deck of the cruise ship from the outside of the building. The two sisters standing on the roof of a nearby building watched this scene. They were all stunned. Can this portal be opened so wide? Jenny asked, looking at her sister. It can be done. Although they were immersed in practice all day long, the mental strength of the two of them was there after all. At most, it can only open a space door with a diameter of 5 or 6 meters. It is incomparable to the one in front of me, with a diameter of more than 50 meters. After finishing, Suemo ordered the two of them to come to the edge of the deck of the huge yacht. You two keep practicing. Try to open the space door in a place where zombies are densely populated. After saying that, Suemo came to the yacht where Alyssa was. After entering the room, Suemo saw the scene in the room. Even a pervert like him couldn't stand it. When Alyssa saw Suemo walking in, she closed the portal that sandwiched her. He came up to me like a child who had done something wrong. You can't blame me, who made you not come back for several days? Suemo looked at her speechlessly. He asked her to practice space teleportation, but she obeyed. But this practice method is really explosive.